we see more and more teams put a lot of emphasis of having checkers control on T side cache, or at least denying information for the CTs on that side of the map. A lot of teams now early will send one player who will throw a smoke. Here on the exit, they will molly the corner beneath the vents, and also flash in case an upper tries to push early or something like that, and that forces the CTs to react pretty much, because if you just give up control of checkers in B and maybe play two site, or one site one CT or heaven, something like that, it can be pretty easy for the T's to exploit that and punish you for giving away that control pretty early on. So NIP is a team that does this a lot, and GetRight is a player who's in a sense really invented that style of play, right? Everyone has started copying it more or less afterwards. So I'm going to show you guys a few examples of how those rounds can play out, and this is something that NIP goes for straight off the bat. You see Pith immediately setting up for a vent smoke, while the rest of the team, I mean GetRight and Freiburg, are here, and you see the smoke on the exit or the entrance, however you want to call it, B main. Then there's a molly here beneath the vents, and Pith also throws a molly in the vents in case they probably went for a read that FaZe will go for mid control and then have someone in vents. And Freiburg is also setting up for another molly that will fall further back, and you can see how Q is burning, and he literally can't do anything. He has to die because he's simply running through too much fire, and that's an easy early advantage for NIP. You can see how now they have the man advantage, they have control of checkers, they're not pushing anything just yet, they're playing pretty safe, they don't want to give the CTs the opportunity to get the refrag, right? And you can see how they're forced to react. AZ pushes towards main, Rain focuses on mid to see what's going on there, and JChem rotates towards B. And this is a natural rotation early on, but you will see how NIP is going to run down the clock and basically make FaZe second guess themselves, right? Because if they're not coming B for so long, they're maybe rotating to A. You can see Rain slowly creeping back. JChem is still watching as of right now, but he now has to watch out. Maybe they can go around the connector and flank them in the back. He hears the flash from Forest, while NIP is just setting up for a pretty much straight up B execute. You can see, guys, that they have a lot of grenades left, smokes, molotovs and everything, and this is pretty powerful when you have control of checkers and B lobby, like going for, because there are only a few places where the CTs can be, right? Behind this white box, the pipes here, the default spot, headshot, and these are all tight and close next to each other, right? You can smoke off heaven and smoke off CT, and then you can eliminate a bunch of places where the CTs usually hold, right? You will force them out of position, and NIP even misses their molotovs, like both of them, which is pretty funny and doesn't happen all that often. They still go for the execute. JChem runs through the smoke, and even though they have two players B, Fox in a good position with the op, they just get traded because NIP overruns them, and the rotation isn't there in time. And in the end, it's a pretty easy round for NIP, all based off of that early kill onto Kiyoshima and them having control of checkers pretty much. So that's one of those rounds. Another thing that NIP loves to do as well is that they also like to take control of checkers and then boost up vent if they can. So again, we see Freiburg and GetRight going there together, doing the same thing, mollying, throwing the smoke, and they don't care about the smoke from the CTs that is here. They simply just flash in and run through it because they know that everything here is mollied off, and they just maybe need to deal with this box, but they also naded that, so the player there would be low HP. And you can see the rest of the team is holding default position. This joins them in case they need to trade, and this is what they do. So they boost up vents, and this is something you don't expect as CT, right? Or at least you didn't before, until NIP started doing it pretty frequently. And now, not only that you have control of checkers, you can also catch someone off guard if they're close mid, somewhere in these positions. You can maybe kill someone who is watching short, or GetRight will even get the kill on Kerrigan, who's watching boost with the op. He's zoomed, he doesn't even expect that. Dupree gets the trade, Forest kills him, and they have the 4v3 advantage. Kirby gets the refrag, and now it's a 3v3. So this is always the advantage for the T's. In the end, NIP will go for an A push, and they will lose the after plan situation. But you can see how they could get an early advantage going for themselves by simply getting control of checkers again. Getright gets, I mean, a free kill. Dupree was close to refrag, but he gets traded as well. So, you know, it's a pretty innovative way of how you don't always need to go for the same thing when you have checkers control, right? So you can see how the round plays out. What's also important here is that sometimes, you know, teams just send one player. Now we see how Getright Freiberg was with him, but sometimes he just does it alone, throws the smoke, the molly and everything after they, you know, go for an execute, and that forces the CTs to maybe, you know, maybe they're scared, they play it a bit passively, and then Getright can draw a lot of attention to himself here towards B, maybe even pull the third guy over there, and his team can just explode onto the A bomb site or something like that. So now you're thinking maybe, wow, well, this looks like pretty OP. How do we counter this? Well, probably the best example of NIP getting countered on cash is, of course, the major where Flipside beat them 16-2 on cash, which was their home map. They had very few losses on it up until that point, and here you can see it's still early on in the half. NIP went for a force buy, but I mean, they have a lot of grenades. They have pistols, but a lot of nades, and seeing as how B is pretty much close range, once you get in, it's not that big of a disadvantage for them, even so. And this is it's pretty apparent in this game that, you know, Flipside really did their research, Blade did, and they were prepared for everything NIP had to throw, them, including these B executes and checkers control and everything of the sort, right? So you can see again the same smoke, and this is the problem, right? If the CTs aren't pushing here, if they're playing far back, they don't have information. There are 5 players here. If it's only like Getright by himself, if it's maybe Getright or Freiberg, right? They cannot know. So if they play it passively, like you will see now, and play in the site where, well, they can get punished for it. But the most important thing here to look at is that Markelov and Shara both have a smoke, and World Edit is also there. So they probably immediately, you know, go for the read that NIP will try and go for that execute that they full bot, and they already have that site stacked. And you can see that's happening. NIP setting up, there's 4 mollies, 2 or 3 grenades, smokes, everything is falling down. But this is the most important thing. Smoke from Markelov and smoke from Shara extinguishes the molly, but also obstructs vision for the Ts. They have to rush in through the smoke. And also, seeing as how 2 smokes from the CTs popped out, well, they don't expect World Edit to be rushing here through Heaven too. And this really, you know, makes the round for Flipside. They stay alive for such a long time. Now already there's still, I mean, only Getright just died, but there's already 5 players of Flipside in this area of the map. And even though, you know, they will lose a couple of players, they're just simply there too fast that they are able to get all the trade kills and secure the rounds for themselves. So one of the ways you can go for this is pretty much save your grenades, right? Save your smokes, and then after that, you know, make it harder for the Ts to maybe even throw your own incendiary towards headshots so they lose health while they're pushing you, right? But that's, you know, it can be tricky because, as I said, you don't know how many people are there, so you might just have 2 people stranded in the bomb site while only one guy is drawing attention and the rest of the team goes A, so your rotation is pretty slow and you're weaker on the other bomb site. And another way that can be pretty a good way to counter this setup early on is if you have an opper who, you know, likes being aggressive early on, and you can send them towards the B bomb site. This is something that Fox used to do a lot when he was playing in FaZe. As you will see now, World Edit, and luckily he has Getright here by himself pretty much. He goes in for the peak as he sees the smoke popping, because with good timing, if you're fast enough, you might have a good chance of catching the player while he's, you know, pulling an A to throw the molly or throw the flash or something like that. And World Edit pushes through it, he catches Getright, and it gives you an easy early man advantage, as well as him getting the info that Getright was there by himself pretty much. That means that they're spread out in a default, so you have time to rotate. You will see World Edit immediately going back towards the A bomb site, so now the Ts might, you know, expect him B, but he's in a different position. He can cause more trouble there and really, you know, make it really difficult for the Ts to make anything happen. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and on Twitter, and hit me up with any questions that you have.